I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Tina Marie. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I am going really well, thank you. It's actually morning here in Australia and it's a windy one, but it's nice and sunny. It's brilliant.
Oh, that's great. So in Trinidad right now, it's 8:35 p.m. Are you about, 12 hours ahead of us?
Oh, I'm bad with maths, but it's 11:30 in the morning here.
Oh, yeah, that's like 15 hours. All right. But
Yeah.
We're definitely in our future. Yeah, please, you can send anything, from the future in the bottle. We'll get it. Yeah, I'm joking.
I love it.
Hey, well, Tina, it's a great pleasure to connect with you. Tina, please do tell me which of your talents is responsible for us meeting.
It's actually because I'm a great connector. I love connecting with people, and someone who I am friends with called Sam Riley connected me with you because she's a good connector too, and she thought we should meet.
She's definitely a good connector. We had her on the podcast. It was a fascinating conversation. She is a fireball.
Absolutely.
So where did the connecting begin? And please tell us about what you do, what you bring to market, please.
Sure. I think being brought up as an only child, it's always made me a connector. I've always reached out to people. My house has always been, my mum always let people come to my house. So it's just been a part of my life. And I love knowing people's stories. And that's where my work comes now. I get in touch with people's interior so that they can create the life they want. And by that, I mean, we all have our own things that we need for ourselves, and we're not always cognizant of what they are. So I help people to get in touch with that. And that's by listening to them, connecting them, and really seeing what it is that connects with what they really want to do in their lives. So I love it.
I love how you said their interior.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the human interior designer. I like that. That's fascinating. So who did you learn that skill from?
I actually am an interior designer by trade as well, but the big thing for interior design for me has always been about the psychology. So it's about how do you make people feel if you're trying to change an environment for a work culture. How do you make people behave the way that you need them to behave to make that culture the culture that the company's after? So for me, it's always been about psychology. And of course, as you can imagine, if people are going through renovations, either personally or in an environment, it's a huge change for people, and people aren't great with accepting change. So my job has always been to look at and help them through that change, which again comes down to the personality, to connecting with them and helping them through that, and recognising that change is fearful, but in the end you're working towards something that you really want. So I actually see real correlations between my interior design work and what I do now to help people with their own interior.
Did you have a scenario where you needed to do a renovation and you applied the same set principles you now help others with?
Well, the funny thing is, when I renovated my own house, I actually went to Africa for 5 weeks and just let my let my builder do it. So I was smart. But part of the beauty of that is we get too caught up in lots of little details. And the beauty of me being in Africa while someone was renovating my house, communication wasn't that strong. But what it meant is I had to get rid of holding on to those little things. And that's what we all do in our life. We get caught up in these little details that aren't important. If we look to the end of our life and what's important, if we're on our deathbed and looking at what's important, I can guarantee that what handles you put on your door really isn't important. It's probably your family, what you did in your life, how you contributed. So the beauty of my not being here is it really did teach me that we don't have to get caught up in the little things. It's the big things that are important, and to trust other people on the journey, and to the stuff I'm not good at, I need to give to someone else to do, like my builder, and trust that he's going to do a good job, and to let go some of the holding on to all the things that I hold on to, which we all do in every part of our lives.
Tina, please do tell me one other thing that you've been doing consistently over the last 3 years.
I walk pretty much every day on the beach, and I Love it. It's not so much about the exercise. For me, it's my time to clear my head, to work out what I'm doing for the day. It's a time for inspiration. But the thing that's amazing for me is every single day is different down there. The clouds are different, the tide's in a different spot, the bird life's different. So it reminds me that every day is different. It helps me be present, but it also reminds me that if yesterday didn't go so well, today's a new day and I can start fresh all over again.
Hey Tina, have you written a book? It sounds as though you're such an amazing individual. Is what you say in words somewhere?
It sure is. I do a number of blogs, but I have written a book called Design You, Create the Life You Want. And the main part of that is there's a whole lot of exercises in it for people to get in touch with who they are in interior. So it's about connecting with your values, your needs, and it's the good parts of you and the bad bits. We so want to connect with our good bits, but we got to connect with and understand the bits that aren't so great about our lives and who we are as well, so that we can embrace them. So yeah, I'd love people to read the book, because the people who do the exercises come back with some real insights. And in fact, the first person who ever read the book had been in a job that she didn't like, and she rang me up and she said, I've just quit my job after reading your book because it doesn't connect with who I am.
Wow. So if we wanted to get more information about you, what's the best place online for us to go to?
tinamurray.com.
Oh, that's so simple.
Easy.
Tina Marie. So Marie is Murray, tinamurray.com. Wonderful. Well, Tina, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Tina, what is your earliest childhood memory?
It is actually a car crash that my mum had, and she had a crash. I can remember we were in a blue car and she crashed into a couple of nuns and we were near a golf course. That's what I can remember.
How old do you think you were?
Apparently I was only a few months old. It was interesting. I spoke to my mum about it as an adult, and I said, oh, when we had that car crash, and I explained it, and she said, how can you remember that? You were a few months old. And apparently what had happened, I'm almost 50 years old, so there wasn't restraints or child capsules back in cars back then.
Wow.
My bassinet apparently had rolled, and I'd rolled under the seat. So mum had this accident and got out of the car to try and find me and couldn't find me. So obviously it was a pretty traumatic experience for her, which is probably why I remember it.
Wow. So why do you think this memory in particular is so clear?
I think because of the impact, literally, that it had on my mum. But also I think really the work that I do now is working with people to overcome their fears and to stop their fears from holding them back. And if you think about the situation my poor mum is in, trying to find this newborn baby that suddenly disappeared in this car crash, and all of those thoughts that must have been rushing through her mind, I feel now it really connects with how I connect with people, and just trying to work through what those fears are for them so that they can move forward.
Wow. So one thing I'm not sure about, you said she crashed into nuns?
Yes. The two women in the car were nuns.
They were driving the car. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounded as though they were walking and she crashed into them. I was like, why is Tina laughing at us?
Of course, yes. Everyone was fine. Yes. No, I'm not that cruel.
Oh, what a coincidence to crash into nuns, right? Now I understand. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
I would love it.
I love the idea of what it means to live beyond what may seem impossible. And you're in a bassinet, right? Like, I'm guessing the seatbelt laws weren't around, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
correct.
To see the fact that not even that type of collision could stop what you had to become, what you had to create, and now that you're helping other people understand that they are created to create or created to become, is pretty fascinating.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you. I love that.
You are welcome.
Really love it.
If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
It's a Style Council. God, this shows my age. A Style Council song called Walls Come Tumbling Down.
Oh, it's amazing how it always connects, right? Like you were in that bassinet and you came tumbling down, right?
And I now help people get their own walls to come tumbling down.
Yes,
So
love it.
love it.
Love it. Well, Tina, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form, so it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. Tina, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Not yet, but I do plan to.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have children?
No, I don't.
Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
It would be more than 8.
All right. Tina, after having 1,001 conversations in 3 months, I came up with a workbook that's called Yours, and it stands for Your Own Unique Real Self. Connected to that is your own unique real statement, your own unique real stance, style, a story, and it goes on, right? But if you had to connect or share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who Tina Marie is, what would you say that is?
It's design it, communicate it, and live it. So work out what it is you want, communicate it to yourself first, but then also have the strength to communicate it to other people, and then go out there and just live.
Love it. Tina Marie, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Thank you so much for your time. The only thing I want to share is life is short, so make sure you do design the one that you want and really live every single day.
Amazing audience, Tina Marie. Tina, thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you, Angel. It's been such a pleasure. I've loved every moment and I love your interpretations.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.